Good day. Welcome to our show. This is The Real Truth. I'm Tommy Spina, and today's guest is John McMillan. This is probably our fourth interview. John is the director of the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission, and I didn't have to ask him that before we started the show because I've talked to him so many times I have it committed to memory. He has kept me posted, and I hope my listeners posted after today on the doings about everyone that's interested in seeing the day come when a store opens up and someone can go in with proper authorization from a certified physician for certain ailments and be able to acquire retail cannabis medical products. So I called you before Christmas and tried to set something up shortly after Christmas, and you said, hey, let's wait till after January 8th. Some things are possibly going to happen on that day. And lo and behold, on January 9th, AL.com reported that 3 dispensaries would be opening. And I'm thinking, well, get in your car. I don't have a medical cannabis card, but you'd have to get that first. But I'm speaking on behalf of all would-be consumers, which I believe there to be a good many of them out there. What happened on January 8th that opened the door, and where are we now? And we'll just follow up with that process.
Okay.
And talk about it.
Of the 6 license categories, the commission had already issued licenses to 4. So we had 2 remaining, the dispensaries and the integrators. And as you know, we've had multiple lawsuits. And so the legislation provides for an investigative hearing process, which it removes it really from the commission, and it goes on. Administrative law judge is appointed, and he goes through a contested hearing process with the applicants. And that's where we were with the dispensaries. And the legislation allows the commission to issue licenses to 4 applicants for dispensaries. And so there's 3 of those. The administrative law judge, the commission went with his recommendation, and we had the 3 that the commission adopted basically his recommendations. But there were 5 applicants. So 3 of the applicants were issued licenses on the 8th, subsequent to his report and the commission reviewing it and all that. Now, each one of those applicants gets 3 dispensary locations. So
is that 3 times 3 equals 9?
9 dispensaries will come from those 3 issued licenses.
But we're limited to 31 statewide, if my memory serves.
37.
37 statewide.
And that's where we've still got lawsuits in the integrator category, and we're just getting into, the administrative law judge is just getting into that process. Now I think there were potentially 22 applicants that are going to participate or are participating in that process. So that makes it a much bigger job than we did with the 5 for the dispensaries.
You're talking about the integrated license.
Right.
Which are only 5.
Right, yeah.
Through legislation, we only have 5 of those.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the True Leaves of the world.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm familiar with that is because I have family that works for that corporation in Florida.
Okay.
Canadian corporation.
Yeah.
But they are on the short list, as I understand it. But what you're telling me...
on the commission's list, which has been being contested and has to go through the administrative law judge process.
And there's 17 people out there contesting?
There's possibly 22. I'm not sure. Oh. See, we don't communicate.
So 22 plus 5. So you have 5. There are 22 others.
No, there'll be, the 5 will come from the number of applicants that participate in that investigative hearing process.
Through the administrative judge.
Right. Yeah.
But
So-
but what you're telling me is there are 20 plus others who are trying to get into that 5.
Possibly that many. Now, the commission doesn't believe there'll wind up being 22 in the process, but that's all up to the administrative law judge, to contact them and say, all right, who's got a law firm working that's going to come down here and handle this contested hearing and that sort of thing. So,
Is there any potential for the number 5 to move to a bigger number, or is that written in stone?
no, that's part of the legislation.
All right. The dispensaries that we are anticipating opening, and if you could give us some educated guess on when the door might open, when would that be? This is January.
It's hard to say.
14.
I'm going to give you a guess, but it's hard to say because we know already that some of them, these guys have had licenses. They've paid like a $40,000 license fee now for 2 years and don't have anything to show for it. So some of them naturally are struggling, but they've had leases that expired. They've had different circumstances that are forcing them. Like one, for example, had a location chosen and a child care center moved in. And legislatively, that can't be within 1,000 feet of a dispensary. So those kind of things, but the commission does have the flexibility at their request to allow them to make those kind of changes.
Okay.
So that's going to help. But I wanted to get back. The reason I injected the integrator thing into this, even though that's going to be a while down the road with licenses, is because it's so important from the dispensary aspect.
Months or years?
Months.
Okay.
Hopefully, and I think so. But they get, each one of those 5 gets, I believe it's 4 dispensaries maybe. Anyway, we need those dispensaries because the total under the legislatively, when the commission issues all of those licenses, 37 is the most number we would wind up with statewide, and certainly that's not enough.
Well, under that scenario, 5 times 4 is 20. Good Catholic education I have. We're up to 57 statewide.
No, 37. With the dispensary licensees, which is 9, and hopefully will be 12 when we get to others.
Oh, I see. And so you're including the integrated number in the 37.
And something to point out how much we need to be able to get those licenses out so that we can get more dispensaries open.
So the dispensaries that we will see first have solely the permission licensing to dispense.
Right.
That is it. They have no other authorization.
That's right.
They have to acquire their product from a producer, a transporter.
Process.
So working back upstream.
Yeah.
Dispensary acquires from processor. Mm-hmm. Processor acquires from cultivator.
Right.
Is there another person?
There's 2 more.
There's a transporter.
Transporter and the lab.
The lab that figures out the appropriate mixture of the CBNs and the terpenes and the other things that go into making up.
Yeah, you can't use herbicides, fertilizers, and those kind of things. And
so we have organic cannabis in Alabama.
That's a real critical part of the whole equation because it's tested. These products will be tested at every level through the process.
And those part of the processes are ongoing and up and running.
Right. Well, they already, they've got licenses.
So do we have cannabis that's ready for dispensing, like sitting somewhere in a warehouse?
No, the only thing we've got that has really occurred as far as making the product available is that some of our cultivators have grown.
Okay, that's what I meant.
Yeah, and they can freeze that for a period of time, but see, it can't even go from them to the processor till we get the whole system up, except for the integrators, which the legislation, not the legislation, the Alabama medical examiners are responsible for certifying and continuing education for doctors. So they had a rule, and it's a good rule, I'm not criticizing it, it's a good rule, that they would not certify doctors until licenses were issued in every category except integrate.
Well, how do the dispensaries get their product?
Well, they'll buy it from the cultivators.
And they can do that now. So we can actually get product
Now, yeah.
within the next few months,
Well,
you think?
I hope maybe even by the middle of March, but that's probably best case because it's going to be difficult for the reasons I told you and others, that for these people to be able to get these facilities open. The facilities require just all kind of special security and all kind of technical things. The growers, for example, have all got to use high-tech lighting for growing the plants.
It's
all of those things. So
it's all grown indoors.
So all of that's got to be in place. But yeah, there are cultivators who have product available to sell processors as soon as they're ready to take it.
So remind our audience that we're not dealing with flour on the front end. What is available are oral tablets, capsules, tinctures, non-sugar-coated gelatin cubes, rectangular or lozenges. We will have gels, we will have oils, we will have creams and topical ointments. We'll have suppositories. We'll have transdermal patches, which I trust are time released. We will have a nebulizer, which is like an asthma gadget, right? We will have liquid or oil for administration via an inhaler. What we will not have is flour or raw plant material or any product that could be smoked or vaped, such as cartridges that we see in my business, I see in criminal cases, or any food products such as edibles like cookies, brownies, and things of that nature.
And then, there are 15 different illnesses that it's eligible to treat. So,
and those are outlined by the statute.
Right, that's in the statute. The statute, let me tell you, one thing that the legislature included in the statute is that the commission does have flexibility on adding additional dispensaries after the program is going and the commission determines that we need more dispensaries. Other than that, that's the only place the commission's got any flexibility, really.
Is depression and anxiety on the list of qualified diagnoses?
Yeah, it is.
And PTSD
right.
and other physical ailments, I know, seizures and things of that nature.
And let me throw this in as a matter of interest. Chronic pain is the number one use nationwide. The last numbers I saw, over 80% of the patients were using it for chronic pain. And that's, of course, senior citizens is a major part of that group.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about this before, but do we have a ballpark anticipated revenues when we're fully up and running?
Some of the colleges that have looked at it tell us that they believe within 2 or 3 years, when we really get the program, get the rest of these dispensaries and all the doctors going and everything, the public aware of the availability and so forth, that it will be generating at that time probably $30 million a year. And that comes from a 9% sales tax at the dispensary level.
Okay. That is the 9%.
Right.
So gross revenues are much more than that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Statewide. And is that earmarked for the general fund, or is it earmarked for education?
The first thing that comes out of the revenue is the funding for the commission. So, and that's another area where they left from flexibility, thank goodness. But anyway, that's off the top, and then the general fund gets the rest of it.
For our state to spend it
Up to the legislature, yeah.
however the legislative body feels fit.
Well, and there is another amount that is set aside by the legislature for research and development. The college, that's one of the things our universities are interested in, especially our research institutions. And that how that is allocated in the form of grants is up to the Council of College Presidents. Mm-hmm. All that's in the legislation. It is extremely complex and complicated.
Are the Council of University Presidents on board with it?
Yeah. They hadn't. We've talked to them along, but there's been no money or nothing for them to do with respect to that at this point. So I don't know whether they have. I doubt at this point. It won't take them long to do this. I doubt at this point that they've got the grant application process firmed up and how that goes and everything.
Now, from the certification point of view of the physician, mm-hmm. I noticed that there are approximately 70 physicians that have already been certified.
Right. And
does any physician get to make themselves certified, or do you have to have a certain specialty? The
Board of Medical Examiners handles that, and as I understand it today, there's an online course of 4 to 5 hours that they have to take, and then they have to meet all the other standards and qualifications for medical doctors. And then the Board of Medical Examiners, I think they met maybe yesterday or sometime this week, and probably going to certify a few more doctors. But now the initial, again, with all this delay, the initial 70 that were certified are going to have to go back through at least probably the online part of the portion or some part thereof, that again up to the,
like a refresher,
to the board, right, to be sure they're ready.
Now, the ones that are expected to open, where would they be located?
The dispensaries?
Yes.
Okay, I have that list with me. GP6 Wellness is one, and they'll be in Birmingham, Athens, and Attalla.
Do you know where in Birmingham?
No, I do not. I mean, it's in the application.
The chat around town is Avondale, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's in the application, so we have it. RJK Holdings at Oxford, Mobile, and Daphne. CCS of Alabama, Montgomery, Cullman, and Talladega, and then Yellowhammer, Birmingham, Demopolis, and Owens Crossroads.
Birmingham, Demopolis, and so we'd have 2 entities opening dispensaries here. Yeah. Now, are those entities limited to 1 dispensary per entity?
Yeah, for those, yeah. Well, each one of the applicants and awardees can open 3.
So Yellowhammer,
right? They
could have 3 dispensaries in Birmingham.
No, Birmingham, Demopolis, and Owens Crossroads. Just
3. Those 3.
Yeah.
Okay. They can't have multiple locations in the same city.
No, only 3, and that again gets us back to that problem with too few dispensaries.
And the same would be true of that. Would you call it GP6?
Yeah, GP6 Wellness.
And that's a Birmingham.
Yeah.
And you say they had other locations as well?
Birmingham, Athens, and Attalla. Now some of this might change because of the things we talked about earlier. With changes in the ability to get the facilities where they initially had them because of leases and sales and child care moving in too close and a number of other things. The commission can approve those type changes, but it's also important to know that none of these folks that applied for dispensary facilities could do it until they had approval from the city council or some local
municipalities.
Municipalities to allow. We we had some municipalities in Jefferson County that rejected it, in all around the state, different counties. Well, Fayette, for example, in Baldwin County,
Rejected?
refused to approve of it. Yeah,
Vestavia, Hoover, and Mountain Brook? Rejected?
I think Shelby County folks were the ones.
Shocking.
Yeah,
Sorry, Shelby, but they're historically
not too far to go.
a conservative. Yeah. So I wonder what happens to a person with a medical, and this is from a criminal lawyer's perspective. A person has a medical cannabis card that's valid. He has cannabis in his possession under the authorization of that card, and he's in Jefferson County, and he's driving south, and he's pulled over in Shelby County. And there's some new legislation, by the way, I saw pending about you're not allowed to have cannabis in a car with a minor, which is a no-brainer to me. But is that person in violation of a criminal statute if he's in another county in possession?
No, if he's got, and I'm glad you opened this subject up because this is important. I'm going to answer your question, and then maybe we can get back to a bigger picture. And let me say, every state agency has been over backwards to work with us. Revenue Department, Governor's Office, the ALEA has been just
I was
super.
about to say ALEA.
They are going to work with us, and the patient card is going to be very much like a driver's license.
Is the District Attorneys Association on board?
We
don't know?
We hadn't had any direct working with them that I'm aware of. But we hadn't had any
pushback.
Anything that you're right. So in your scenario, if a driver has that card or a patient in the car, that officer, and we'll just say it's on Leah State Trooper, all he's got to do is go back to his car and his computer, and he can pull up all the information about that individual and how much the doctor's recommended, how much is in his possession one time, and all of those kind of things.
And he is essentially immune from prosecution in the state of Alabama. I mean, we get people here. I get cases here where people are medically certified to use
opioids or something like that. Right?
No, cannabis, like Mississippi, for example.
Oh, yeah.
It's a medical cannabis state.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Many states are not recreational. Many states are, in fact, medical.
Yeah, it's like 40-20, something like that.
Yeah, and I think, are we at about 47 states now that are either or medical or cannabis? Did I hear that number?
Yeah, I think that's probably about right for one or the other, or both. Yeah.
And that would include Alabama, I suspect.
No, we only medical.
No, but I mean in terms of...
Oh, in that number?
In the ability to be either or.
Yeah.
Not necessarily and.
Right.
47 states allow it under some mechanism.
Right. I think
there's some goofy mechanism in the District of Columbia.
Yeah, Congress oversees that, and they just voted to block any sale of recreational marijuana.
Yeah, they got some gifted, I don't know. I was up there back when all the craziness went down on January 6th. I was not there for the craziness. I came in for the aftermath of the craziness because there's some Alabamians up there. And I looked into it to see what was going on there with that. And they had some oddball. It's like you can come in and we'll give you a gift, but you can also buy some medical cannabis with the gift. The gift has nothing to do with the cannabis. I don't know. I'd have to read it and study it, but it was just so blatantly unnecessary. I mean, people, some are going to use, even though they have ailments, they're going to use it recreationally.
Oh, yeah, and you're going to get, the black market's always there.
Are there guardrails on that in the legislation?
No.
So if I, for example, get a card, go in, acquire some of the peach, and I assume the flavor was picked because of Chilton County. I'm just guessing. I mean, we've got the big peach on I-65 that looked like something else before they painted it. Still looks like something else to me when I drive by it. But if I have it, there's got to be a law that prohibits me from transferring it, I would think, to an individual.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So is that written in that statute?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
so that would be a distribution,
yeah,
which is a Class B felony in Alabama.
And, of course, the legislature, I don't want to get too far off in this, I'm not qualified to really, but the legislature last year, passed legislation addressing the CBD and Delta and THC and all of those products.
Oh, the Delta 8s.
Primarily from the convenience stores and those kind of places. It's still available in some places.
Well, I think what they did, correct me if I'm wrong, you would know better, is they transferred the regulation of the products to the ABC board.
Right, with parameters, in the legislation.
Much like selling beer or wine.
Right.
They're limited in, none of what's in a convenience store, and if you go in any convenience store at the point of sale, right there at the counter, there's an array of things, flavors, usually, I think they're usually smokable products. I'm trying to remember where I go buy gas, and I always go in there. Of course, now you can buy what they were regulating were the liquid, like a can of beer, for example. I forget the name of it.
Oh, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And that'll still be available, but I think only like through major grocery stores that have licenses.
Yeah. But it's 0.3 THC, psychoactive THC. For example, I read an article last night in the New Yorker magazine about Willie Nelson, who everybody knows is a big proponent of cannabis, and he makes no secrets about it. Well, he's got a product that's liquid called Willie's Remedy. It says on the bottle 10 milligrams of THC, but I only think 0.3 is, quote, Delta 9.
Yeah, the 0.3 is the dividing line between hemp and marijuana, I guess.
And then the other components of his product is CBN, which is another derivative of the hemp plant. The hemp plant is phenomenal to me, how many varieties of cannabinoids, which it took me forever to learn how to pronounce that word, come from it. And it's been around as long as, I guess, mankind.
1,000 years, I think.
Yeah.
Proven.
Yeah.
But, and I do want to get back to that patient registry thing. But, that's in the ABC board, I think their regulations are in, rules and regulations to govern all of that are in the process right now.
So they haven't been signed off on yet?
No.
I guess that's why I still see it.
One thing that is really important, and this is an important part of what President Trump has proposed, because that reclassification will let our universities and anybody who wants to do a lot more good research on the medical and
what the current administration has suggested is taking the schedule of all drugs, heroin, whatever, opioids that have no medical purpose, and they call those Schedule 1s. Mm-hmm. Right now, cannabis is a Schedule 1.
Yeah, like cocaine.
And heroin and whatever.
Oh,
yeah.
Heroin.
And he's moving it, or trying to move it, to Schedule 3,
Right.
which would make a tremendous difference.
Yeah, because we need the research and development everywhere. Let's
That just means it has some medical
but this,
usefulness.
yeah, but I know I've got friends that have been going, and they say they'll continue to under this other legislation to buy CBD products that they say are helping them just tremendously
With pain in their joints.
Yeah.
You said let's get back
to the patient registry thing. This is important for several reasons. One, we've been paying $500,000 a year for 2 years to a company called Metric, who got the contract to administer that program along with the commission, which is just another example of what all these lawsuits have cost the taxpayers of Alabama. But anyway.
You know what? My friend Steve Salter always said, if it weren't for lawyers, we wouldn't need lawyers. I think Shakespeare had that in mind when he made his famous about killing all the lawyers.
But anyway,
you get rid of us, you can have your way with whatever you want to do.
But anyway.
We could use a few more lawyers in the state legislature, since we only have two, I think.
Speaker Joe McCorkadale always said that was one of the shortcomings of the reapportionment back in the early 70s was because we lost way too many lawyers out of the legislature as a percent of the body.
You know, we do serve a purpose.
No doubt about it. But anyway, that is really important. They do this in multiple states. I forget how many states they've got the similar contracts. But they've had all the experience. They've been working with us. They've trained our staff. We're in the process, in fact, of hiring a medical skilled person to work with that patient registry and with Metric to be sure, the connection between the doctors and all the other steps are solid and everybody's doing the right thing. Then there's another contract we've got with a company that follows the plant process. When those plants, cannabis plants, get about 8 inches tall, they get a code label on them, usually just one of those plastic things. And everything from that point on...
The QR code you're talking about?
Right, yeah. Everything on, anything done with that plant has to be into that system so that our inspectors, when they check it, it has to, if they throw away a portion of it, it has to be right down to the millimeters of how much it was and how they disposed of it and all that sort of stuff.
So they have to keep up with their waste.
And that's all part of the legislation.
So if I go into a dispensary and buy a product, it'll have a QR code on the box or whatever, the containers.
Back, yeah.
For a while at Lulu's down in Gulf Shores, people were, I guess, screwing with Gulf snapper. So when the snapper hit the table...
Oh, yeah, and shrimp as well, yeah.
It had a QR code stick on it to certify that it was, in fact, caught right off the coast.
Yeah. And we're seeing that in so many other areas, too, especially with foods, to be able to track back, the lot number and that's all. But this thing will track it all the way back to the plant that it came from.
Well, same thing. That tracked it back to the boat captain.
Yeah, that's right. And our inspectors will be doing that sort of thing and looking, expiration dates will be strictly enforced. And it's a major undertaking, and we're going to become a regulatory agency, which is what we're designed to be when we get out of litigation and get licenses going.
As a collateral benefit to the state, are we going to be seeing some, and I'm sure y'all have studied this, some job creation?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got, I know one or maybe two universities that are already offering courses.
In certification process?
No, just growers.
Cultivating.
Employees to be in a grower. But we got some, I'll mention this name up at Jacksonville State. There's a lady, I guess she's head of the biology up there. She's doing tremendous research with us students on the impact. In fact, they're curing cancer in mice with CBD products. So this reclassification is just going to open up all kind of things that.
Well, there's a lot of cynicism in the medical world about the cure for cancer, which is not what this program is about today.
Exactly.
But there's questions asked about why we can't stamp that out. We seem to have stamped out HIV, well, not HIV, but certainly AIDS. But so I won't go there with this show, at least. So we got job creation, we got increased revenue, we got practical applications for people in need. What are the negatives out there that you're hearing about? When the lawyers come into court and they're bitching about whatever it is they're bitching about, is it more about the process of acquiring the license, or is
it's all about fighting for a license?
But you know, these companies are 50 million in, the integrated people. True Leaf, for example, that's the one I know about.
Yeah.
And they haven't so much as cracked the door to a revenue, to a dollar bill.
Yeah, so, and of course they've gone back to the legislature at least two terms trying to change things up in the law to give themselves an advantage of getting a license. What it boils down to.
Is there minority participation, or has the recent
legislation requires minority participation in the license?
Does that cause a rub with our unitary executive in D.C. about?
Not that we've heard of. We haven't been sued about that.
Okay, well, maybe he doesn't know about
the
that.
Commission has done a good job of.
I saw he flipped somebody a bird yesterday. I thought that was pretty classy. I digress. We won't. I'm trying not to be political, but yesterday I did an interview.
It raises its ugly head almost any way you turn.
Yeah, it's best not to talk about it. Our legislative body is in session right now, and other than the prohibition of, I don't know how you know. I know how you know the odor of marijuana. I can walk into a courtroom and get high. I'm exaggerating, but it's that prominent, the odor.
That's what folks tell me. I can't recognize it. I hadn't been around it enough to. I'm told I smelled it one time walking on the street in Washington, D.C., but I had no awareness.
If you smelled something that smelled like a skunk, it was cannabis. If you go to New York City, it exceeds the smell of garbage. So that's a good thing, because if you're going to smell something, you would rather smell that than garbage. But I think New York City is not recreational. Chicago, not recreational. Florida, not recreational. Do we have any legislation beside what I just mentioned? I got a Legiscan report yesterday that had this one about smoking marijuana. Oh, it had a component to it that if a kid showed up at school reeking of cannabis, there were some criminal implications there. I don't know how the proof comes from all this. Typically the odor of marijuana does not suffice to, just like the odor of alcohol, it is not sufficient to create probable cause to conduct a non-consensual search of whatever it is law enforcement wants to search. But I think it's probably more so allowing, because what they're looking for is probable cause to make an arrest, probable cause being a standard of proof, being the lowest standard of proof on the opposite end of beyond a reasonable doubt, to go to the next step, which please step out of the car. And then, you mind if I take a look around? And everybody, if you don't consent, then I'm going to bring the dog out. And the dog comes around and does what dogs do. And they're experts. They're hard to cross-examine, I must admit. But they sit down when they alert. Well, to me, that's what dogs do. If you're holding a goodie and you've trained your dog to respond to the command sit with a reward, they're going to sit down. But that's for a different day and for courtroom stuff. I do think the criminal justice system is probably in favor of what's going on with cannabis. I know they are in Jefferson County because they don't need to occupy court time, judicial time, prosecuting things that now we're talking about moving from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 when we have violence, domestic violence, sexual predators, other things that our court needs to be focused on. And we're finally, and in the mid-'80s, I was involved in the initiation. And for whatever reason, you remember General McCaffrey? He was the first drug czar.
Yeah.
I think he was appointed by Reagan, maybe, or maybe one of the Bushes. But Jefferson County was chosen, along with one other state, to be like the leading training ground for these alternative courts. Like we have a drug court now. They're called diversion courts. And you walk in the drug court, it reeks of marijuana sometimes, but everybody's subjected to testing. It's very successful. Judge Maria Fortune is doing an excellent job operating it, monitoring it. She runs a tight ship. And it was, when it started back in the 80s, when I was involved in traveling the country trying to teach other jurisdictions how you go about putting one of these programs, they're called diversion programs, because you're trying to avoid that individual from having a felony conviction over the possession of marijuana. And you're taking what's now happening, 15 years to that's 25, 40 years to get to where we are now, where we're looking at cannabis as a public health issue and not a criminal issue.
Yeah, this whole thing, my take on it is that everything to do with marijuana, cannabis, or whatever is a cultural shift that's taking place nationwide and to some extent worldwide.
Well,
it started in Washington and California and Colorado, like the West Coast. Then it, like everything else, kind of wound up on the East Coast, and now it's all and how the legal system, how the medical system, how everybody works with it, the state governments work with it is where we are.
Not to be, humor is one of my favorite tools, but I always liken things to the fruit fly. It originated on the West Coast. Most things start on the West Coast that are progressive in nature and move to the East Coast. So with that being said, I think we're going to call it a day, unless you have anything you'd like to add to the real truth.
Yeah, the only thing I really want to be sure and add is our website and recommend that, because we're going to be putting a lot more information on there now about all this information about where the dispensaries are and everything as it evolves. And it's amcc.alabama.gov. But of course, if you go to Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission, it comes up too.
amcc.alabama.gov.
That's it.
You got that?
Tremendous amount of information available.
I hope you'll check it. Thanks for being with us again. I'm going to have you back as the stages proceed, because I want to keep our listeners clued in on the progression. I'm also going to invite some other licensees to tell us what they have done, the transporters, the cultivators, the processors, and I think that's about it, to get their spin on what they've had to go through. I do have one question that's just been bothering me. I want to know, is Yellowhammer, what is it called? Is Yellowhammer and Yellowwood, are they related to Jimmy Raines?
No.
Respectfully to Jimmy Raines. I'm an Auburn graduate, Jimmy. Do not be offended.
Oh, he's a friend of mine, too.
I'm just asking.
But I think there was...
my cousin was on the board of trustees, so you know I bleed orange and blue as well.
There are a number of folks that would be in his financial category that either chose not to get involved or did, and when they saw where all this litigation was going and everything, they said, we'll pass somewhere else.
We'll just keep making treated lumber.
Or something else, yeah.
Thanks for being with us, John.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Have a great day. Thank you for joining me today on The Real Truth. My name is Tommy Spina. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. I hope you will follow or subscribe to my podcast and listen in to the next episode. If you found it valuable, please take a moment to rate it and review it. It helps us to reach more listeners that care about the issues that matter. Share it with a friend. Stay engaged and remember, the truth matters. I'll see you next time.